we were both young. Spending was a problem. It got me into a problem with it because I was pulling credit card. I was trying to do whatever I could to just keep it going. When that fell apart, I was like, okay, I got to really figure this out.
All right, welcome back to the Grindcast. So today we're joined by Macrae Heppler, managing partner at Eaglegate Title St. George and the local insider and go-to voice for what's new in Southern Utah. Whether he's closing real estate deals or dropping quick hit videos about new businesses around town, Macrae brings the energy. He's passionate about the community, sharp in business, and just entertaining enough to make title work sound amazing. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Grindcast, Macrae Heppler.
Thanks for having me.
That was awesome. That was good. That's all Danielle there, but I like it. It's true. It is true. Entertaining enough to make title work fun, right?
Which I understand is usually not. Closing on your home is fun, though.
Yes, it is. So tell us a little about what you do now. So we've got Eaglegate. I'd like you to talk a little bit about what you do there, and then kind of get into the what's new in Southern Utah. But let's talk about Eaglegate first. Tell us a little about what you do there.
Yeah, so basically I'm not really a title guy usually, or I guess a title, the sense of a title. But if I were to give myself a title, I'm a title guy, but not a title guy, right? Head of growth is what I like to, or marketing business development. But essentially my job is to bring business in. I've got a really great team that is actually closing the transactions. And my job is to go out and get the relationships to send us their business and then make sure they're happy is like the number one.
Awesome.
Along with that is making sure my team is also happy. And then all the hats you wear as a small business owner, right? And so try to minimize all of that busy work or delegate it. That's what I'm really trying to work on right now so that I can just focus on my zone of genius. What is that term? Where all the things that I love to do and that I'm really good at, which is a lot of the time the relationships. I've always been a friends guy. That's why I feel like real estate was a perfect fit for me because, as you guys know, in real estate, it's all about who your relationships are with and the friendships, right? And so essentially that's my job. And so the videos, when we started the business, and the way we started it, my mom is actually my business partner, and she's our escrow officer. We have actually 5 licensed escrow officers now throughout. We've got a couple different offices, a couple different entities within our umbrella of really our family business. But she's the head escrow officer, absolute workhorse, and she actually has been in the business longer than I've been alive. So 1987. That's awesome. She started at Dixie Title. I was conceived in I was born in 1990. And so she was at Dixie Title till about 98. And then she went to United Title. And she was at United Title from 98 till 2015. And I knew that she was always good because anyone I ever talked to in real estate was like, oh, your mom's amazing. And I didn't even know, I never knew what she did. I just knew she closed homes.
Just knew she was amazing.
Didn't know what title was. I'd be like, oh yeah, she's an escrow officer. And people would be like, what's that? I'm like, I don't even know. Nope. But I know she closes homes. Like that's where you go to close. And people would be like, oh, cool. And so she was working there. She actually was the only escrow officer that really made it through one of the only that made it through the crash in their business.
Oh yeah.
And because she just had long lasting relationships with people that were still doing business. And got through the crash, got through the early parts of the 2010s, and then the company she was working for had to shut down for a couple of reasons. And I was doing Vivint at the time. I was door-to-door salesman back east, mostly. My home was always here, but I was back and forth. And I had invested in a gym here in town that was supposed to be a passive investment, kind of like a silent partner. And turned into my day job. So I was back and forth, but I wasn't making any money with the gym, and so I was still selling door to door. So
oh my God.
I was back and forth, and one time I came home and went to say hi to her at her office, and they were boxing up the office when I walked in. And I was like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And so she tells me the story, and she wasn't happy because she hates change. She wasn't comfortable with, there was just a lot of unknown, and she does not like unknown. And so she's telling me this story and how they were being taken over by another title company from Salt Lake. And that she just didn't feel great about it. And I was like, why don't you just start your own? You've done this
forever. Yeah.
And she's like, well, I can't just start my own. I'm like, what if we start what if I help you? What if I'm looking for a way to get out of summer sales? I started doing summer sales as an entrepreneur, kind of driven sales mindset. And I want to start a business in St. George because there's not many options if you want to make a really good living in St. George. Mm-hmm. Very few, especially at the time. Now it's getting better and better, but real estate was one of those places, right? And I was like, I know nothing about what you do, but I know that I can sell you, and I can sell and market it. I can run the business. I feel like I got my MBA through the gym because I learned a lot of what not to do. And so I feel like I can do it. And it wasn't that she lacked confidence in me, but she is not. I'm kind of the crazy entrepreneur of the family. She doesn't like risk. My dad was a school teacher. They're just very simple-minded, and I love them to death for that. I am who I am because of that. But I also have a little bit of a crazy side in me, and so she's giving me all these reasons why we couldn't start it. And I was like, well, everybody else at some point started a title company, so there's a way. There is a way.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of if we can figure out all the ways. And so it took me 2 months to convince her, but through that 2 months, I tried a couple different various options, and all of them, one of the biggest objections was it would take 2 or 3 months to pretty much get everything dialed in. Mm-hmm. And her biggest thing was, where are my current assistants going to go during that time?
Oh, yeah.
Or how are we going to pay them? How are we going to do that? And then my current clientele, where are they going to go that they will then want to come back, right? And I knew that was big. So in a roundabout way, we got connected with Eaglegate, who was already operating up north, 2 partners, and learned about them on a Friday. I met with a guy down here that was going to partner with us on Sunday. On Monday, he backed out. Tuesday, we met with the guys up north. Thursday, I went out and bought all the equipment, and by Monday, we were operating. Wow. And it was a crazy week. August of this year is our 10-year anniversary.
Oh,
it was August 10th that we got it set up.
That's cool.
And best 2 partners we could ever ask for. They basically were like, if you want to just, because we were trying to start kind of our own just from scratch. Mm-hmm. And they basically were like, if you want to stay with us for a year, 2 years until you rebrand or do whatever you want to do, that's fine. We'll just help you get off the ground.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Which was very, very cool of them. But we wouldn't exist the way we exist today if it wasn't for them. And super, super grateful for them. And so, it was off to the races. Basically told her, I'm like, you just keep closing deals and I will go out and get new deals. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. And I just started figuring it out. And that's what led to the newsletter that I started emailing out in 2016 of all this stuff happening in St. George. And I was surprised because I didn't like newsletters. And I was like, who reads newsletters, right? But I got talked into it, and I was like, I'm just going to put all this stuff happening. And I would do that every month. And every month I got more and more good feedback. And I was like, oh, people are actually reading this.
They're curious about what's occurring.
And so I wanted to take it to social media. And then so in 2018, I found out what drones were and was like, let's just try and start making videos of all the segments. Because my newsletter I still do it. It's basically the whole county. And it's by area. And that's how I got the idea to do the videos by area, was because I already had it pretty much lined up in my newsletter by area.
Uh-huh.
So then I just translated each area into a little video. Mm-hmm. And I got with Hayden Kelsch with Vision Impact Solutions and or Productions. And 7 years later, he's still my guy. And he gets better every single year.
He's great.
And I no longer fly the drone like I used to, and the quality of the drone is day and night. But from the beginning, I knew I didn't have any of the creative talents, the editing, all of that. So I just told him, we show up this area, you're going to film me. I'm going to tell you what to film. You put it all together. And I gave him some of the vision, and he puts it together, and that's still what we do 7 years later. So. So that's how it came about. The videos of what's happening in Southern Utah came about from really a marketing idea for me to just get my name out there in the business, in the real estate community, and really to give a resource or a resource for the real estate community. All of our business comes from realtors, builders, lenders, developers. And in order to meet those people, you've one, got to be known, and two, you've got to really give exceptional service and really find ways to go over or above and beyond on a service level. And I just felt like a lot of title companies would put out stats and different things, and I just made this my thing. And it's gotten bigger than I ever envisioned that it would, but it's still just really the foundation of it is just being a resource as realtors and builders and lenders and all these people are talking to people moving here, giving them that as a resource. I've heard over and over now how many times it's helped them. I run into random people. They're like, oh, I watched your videos as I was trying to move here, and it actually helped me decide where I wanted to land. And so it's really cool.
I think that's the new way really for business too. It's attention, and it's kind of like a digital networking, right? I think there's still some people, I mean, I understand the old school part of networking, but you can only meet so many people in person.
So true.
But when you're doing it through video and something like that, especially when it catches as much attention as it does, you can reach thousands of people.
100%.
And so, but it takes time.
And that's the thing, is networking from the beginning has always been my thing. I've always tried to be at every event possible, but you get busier and busier and busier, and those, you want to get to everything, and you know this, but you can't. And so actually COVID was a blessing for me, because at the time I was going to all the events and I was trying to be everywhere, but you can only be in so many places. And so my videos were kind of to stay in front of people. That was my way. But at the time I was only doing them once a month. And then COVID hit and all the real estate brokerages shut down. So I couldn't go and do my visits like I used to. I just go and kind of visit all the brokerages. And I still do that occasionally, but it's not just like random pop-bys anymore. And I never felt comfortable doing that anyway, because everyone was working and like, hey, what's up? And they're like, I'm working. Anyway, and I did it because that's just what you did. But then all the brokerages shut down. So I was like, what am I going to do with some of my time? Well, I'm going to double down on the videos. And that's when I went from monthly to weekly. That's when I gave up the drone flying. And that's really when it started to uptick. And then I didn't have to be, I was now in someone's inbox or on their social feed every week with a new video. And it made up for the times where I can't make it to an event, or I can't be everywhere. And it also allowed it so where people, the first couple of years in business, I would walk in and I was young, and I still am kind of young. And they'd be like, who are you? Or title? What? Like, and then the last couple of years, I can now walk into real estate meetings, and it's such an icebreaker because they already feel like they know me, which is very cool. And so it's helped in a lot of ways, and it's helped me. I love being involved with the community, love highlighting especially local business, and it's fun. It goes hand in hand with my business, and so that's why it's still part of my business. I've thought about making it like a kind of a media company, but I like the box that I'm in. I like it.
It's amazing what it does for you as far as it being an icebreaker, like you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
You walk into a room, you don't really need to talk about explain what you do. Like,
right.
What do you do? They already know, and that's what's amazing. And there's a lot of people that are still kind of afraid of jumping on camera. And I think you got to just get through it. You got to do it, because it'll make a big difference in your business, especially if you're doing it over time, like it has yours.
And I still hate it. I still have retakes. I think I overtalk a lot of the time. I'm trying to work on that when I'm storytelling, or when I just like to talk. As far as like, I don't know, it's just weird. I just ramble. So when I'm on camera. I realize my videos are not the orthodox video that people like, video professionals or content creators that they're teaching, because it's short. Everyone wants a shorter video because everyone's time attention or their attention span is
right
is so small. And so my videos are 5 to 7 minutes, which is not your typical video when it comes to just putting it on social media. But because it's the dopamine hit is every time I transition somewhere, it like that's why I feel like people can sit through one, because it's something new every 20 seconds. But because it's but I know that I still need to be precise with my words, because and so when I'm filming, there's a lot of times like my bloopers and like retakes that he does. It's me saying, I'm talking too much. That's too many words. Too many words. Too many words.
You ever release the bloopers?
I do once a year, yeah.
Okay.
Just like if you go back every the end of the year or first week of January, that's the first video of the year. The last 3 years, I put out bloopers, and it's funny.
Yeah,
they're hilarious. So
you still get. I mean, you've done so many videos, but you still get a little nervous.
Oh yeah, and especially if someone's walking by or listening to me, it's not even a chance.
Yeah.
I try, when we go to an area, I try to position myself in an area where it still is a decent background, but that there's no one around, and there's no one that's going to be around. Yeah. Because even if they're walking, and I was at Strap Tank a couple weeks ago when it opened, and I wanted to do it and I thought I was there early enough to where no one would be there, but people were walking in, and we had to move.
You're like, abort.
Like, I just can't. For some reason,
I totally get that.
I just can't. If someone's listening to me, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've had the kind of the opposite experience. Like, my first videos that I did were probably 10 years ago, and they're out there on YouTube. They're absolutely terrible. Like, there was just no energy there. Like, it was really hard. And now, like, I don't mind. I could be in a crowded room and I could turn it on and go live. But it took a long time to get there. And then part of that is just like, I think what changed is I had a person that made a YouTube hater video about me. And I was like,
nice.
I made it.
That's cool. Yeah, seriously.
Somebody took time out of their day to make a hater video about me. Like, this is great. And so then I was like, I don't care anymore. Like, there's going to be, no matter what, there's going to be some haters on there. And if there aren't any haters, then you're not out there enough.
True.
There's going to be some.
I've had my fair share of critiques. I get text messages sometimes. I got a text message from a 52-year-old auctioneer that he said that. It might have even been you'd done auctioneering for 52 years. I don't know. But he tried giving me a full lesson on how I should use my hands, and how he told me to get in front of a mirror and put quarters right here and right here, and to use that so that I could be more like a news reporter. And I'm like, well, I'm not really I don't want to be a reporter. I just want to be me.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yes, I don't know what to do with my hands. So that's why
that's your signature. Hey, everybody.
It's your thing, but so I get my fair share of critiques, or like the first part of the video, for some reason I talk so fast through it, and I fumble through it. So sometimes when I'm out there filming, I have to redo the first part like 4 or 5 times, even though I say the same exact thing every single week. For some reason, I don't know what it is. And so, and it's not even that. I think it's like, because I'm not scared to get on video, but I'm still so conscious about what I'm saying that. But at the same time, like, if I'm talking about like going live or like doing like, I've never done that still, and I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, you just got to go around and do it. Just start walking through the store, just like.
I know.
Maybe we need to do one today.
Like, I'm totally.
Maybe we will hear. Maybe we need to do it live today. I did that with a friend of mine. We were speaking in front of a group of people, and I was like, okay, go live now. And he was a little nervous, but he did it, and we did it, and it was awesome. It's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, like, I'm okay if like somebody is recording me, right? Like, or I'm with somebody else, but for me to do it on my own, I just feel awkward. I'm like, this is just not me.
Same. I completely.
I'm not like, look at me. Like, that's just, it feels weird because I don't want all the attention on me. So I'm like, if somebody else is there with me, like recording, then I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I can do it. But
yeah,
I get it.
That's true.
Okay, so I think everybody wants to know, are you going to run for mayor?
No. Absolutely not. I have no intention of ever running for office in any capacity. So, city council, mayor. people are like, well, what about when you're like 55, 60, like you know, retiring, you're sunsetting? I'm like, yeah, but at that point, I also don't want to be, I want freedom at that point, right? And I just feel like there's a lot of ways that I can keep influencing how St. George grows, because essentially there's a lot of different topics, political topics, that people think that cities control or that city council has anything to do with. And the reality is that it's how land is used and infrastructure and a lot of the boring things.
Don't forget the trash.
Yes, trash. All the things that make a city work, which I am very, very passionate about. And I want to have an influence on how Southern Utah, St. George, all these cities grow because it's important. But I just don't think the value that I have in the position that I'm in, where I can be vocal online, I can do these videos, a lot of these things that I do, I wouldn't be able to do if I was on the city council the way that I currently do, or as a mayor. Now, there are other things that I could do as a sitting mayor or city council, but yeah, I just don't, especially right now as a young dad. That's what my biggest excuse right now is, until my kids are grown and gone, forget about it. Yeah. Because I don't want to add, if it's going to add more to my plate that potentially takes away from a dance recital or you know, one of my things is I will never miss a dance recital. And I know how much happens at night with city council, mayor, and traveling and all the things, right? And so I give all the props to them. I'm friends with a lot of them, and I want to have the relationships with them so that I can also voice my opinion on when, you know, I'm passionate about something or when something comes up. But I don't want to be in the seat.
Yeah.
I have a lot of respect for sure for those that do that.
Same.
I mean, just you know, if you're doing a great job, 40% of the people hate you.
Yep.
Right?
It's true.
There's some that love you, but 40% still, or 50, yeah,
or
at
80.
least. Yeah.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
I have a hard time with knowing that no matter what, you're going to make 40 or 50% of the people mad.
It's just a different level of haters compared to like the keyboard warriors on your videos. Right?
Yeah.
It's like then some of them will attack you in person. Right. And it's just, so I have a lot of respect for those who have the guts to do it, because it's hard. I don't think there's anything that I could do. But I also think that prevents some really good people from jumping in that could make a difference.
And that's how it is on a national level of politics. Yeah. Because there's various reasons why a lot of the most successful people that would be so good at those positions, whether it's a local level, state level, federal level, there's just so many reasons why it just is not fun.
And look at Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, his whole company is being attacked, and it's so silly.
Prime example.
Yeah.
A prime example.
Yeah,
I posted a thumbnail for April Fools, and it was looked just like this one. Like we had interviewed him. Like anybody watching, if I ever got the chance to interview him, I will. I don't care about the political side. Okay, I would love to.
Yeah.
And I had, and a lot of people thought it was real. And there were people that are like, I'm unfollowing you right now. And I was like, regardless of political beliefs, if I had the chance to interview
incredible person,
even any past sitting president, even if I agreed with them or not, if I had the chance to sit down with them and interview them, for sure I would. Absolutely. I don't have to agree with them, but I can still learn a lot from them. So it was fascinating. Yeah. I want to rewind back a little bit though, because the gym. Mm-hmm. I feel like I know we skipped over that a little bit, but I feel like you mentioned like there were so many lessons there that you learned as far as going down the gym.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to hear a little bit more about that. Like, how did you get started in that gym? So you were selling solar, and then you had this
alarm actually. Yeah, so Vivint alarm. I tried solar for a few months, but it just wasn't for me.
Okay.
And it required me to move to California, which I thought at the time. There was a split. I'm all Southern Utah for life, but there was one era of my life that I thought that Newport and Huntington was going to be my place.
Okay.
And I lasted about 3 weeks of liking it. And then I was like, I really don't need to live by the beach. And I do not like living here. I need to get back home. So that's why I love the summers, because I could go experience Northwest Arkansas, Central Illinois.
Great to visit.
Great places to visit. But my primary residence, that helped me solidify my primary residence for the rest of my life was going to be St. George, Utah.
Okay.
And but yeah, so at the time so with Vivint, with summer sales, you get in, you create your own 1099. You're a 1099. You create your own LLC. You start reading all these sales books, which lead to business books, and you just start to. And that's why a lot of people that do summer sales end up dropping out of school, because they end up starting businesses of their own, and that's kind of the path that I was starting to go down. Because when I got home, I served a mission. I get home, and I was going to Dixie State at the time, and didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew that I didn't want to go. I knew that I didn't want to go into a specialized career of whether it was like in health or an attorney or any. But then I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew that I had some sales background, and so I was like, I'll get into sales, because sales, I can control my income like a business owner, and it's all on me. And I like that. And I like being able to control my schedule. I like being able to control my income. So that's why I got into summer sales. And first year I did pretty good. And so I was on for the second year. And after the second year is when I made a decent amount of money. And I was like, okay, I want to start investing this money, and I want to get back to St. George. And so my friends were running a gym. It was actually right before the second summer, now that I think about it. But because I literally bought into the gym and then I left for the summer. But two of my friends were leaving, and the one was staying, and I needed to buy them out. And basically that's what it was going to be, is I was going to buy them out. He was going to keep running the gym, and it was going to be like a silent partner type situation where it's like a passive investment, which it definitely was not passive. Right? And so I go out for summer. That's how I'm making money. Come home, and the need was there for him, my partner, who was doing all the training, because it was a personal training gym. And in order for it to be successful, it needed some management on the business side of things, collecting payments and just making marketing and doing all the things so that he could just spend his time training. And so I started getting more into it to the point of we were going to build a really big gym. And I was basically going to give up Vivint, and I was actually going to go all in on the gym. And then that fell apart. And so we were still stuck at where we were, which just wasn't enough. I wasn't making any money from it. And so I was like, I got to go back out for another summer. And so anyway, it lasted, I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 years. But a lot of what I learned was in tracking money.
Love it.
Because our revenues were pretty good, but then we moved buildings and our expenses went up, and the revenue didn't totally match that. And we were spending on a lot of things that we thought were reinvesting into the gym. And there were some that was, but we were both young. Spending was a problem, and it got me into a problem with it because I was pulling credit card. I was trying to do whatever I could to just keep it going until the big gym. We were getting investors, and we were going to make this big. When that fell apart, I was like, okay, I got to really figure this out. And it was during that time that I was back and forth from Arkansas, and I came home and saw my mom, and that's how that all started. So for the last year of the gym, I was also starting Eaglegate. But
Arkansas, you were doing the sales
I was doing sales there, and then I would come home, check on the gym.
Okay.
That was the deal I had with them my last summer, was that I would come home once a month and just make sure everything was good with the gym. And so that's when I came home, went to her office, and that's how that whole thing started. But so the money tracking, and I still do have a lot of the same habits today, but I track the spending, the revenue. I have a very detailed spreadsheet that goes along with what my accountant does, how I track everything. And that was one of the biggest things I learned. And one of the biggest things going into day one was just knowing where all the money's going, because you can completely get out of hand.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to the expenses. And so I ended up, not during this time. During this time, we had a client that ended up becoming a really good friend. I'm still good friends with him. that he ran a paint company, and he was one of the clients that just turned into us like venting to him or trying to learn from him, because we're like, this guy's super successful, like, and he was willing to help us, and he was the one that kind of helped me paint the picture of where we were financially and how bad it was.
Okay.
And was like, here, this is what I do. Take what you want, but this is a spreadsheet. This is how I track all my money in and money out. And so I took that and started applying that. And then I took that same system and I applied it day one when I started Eaglegate, which allowed me to seriously track. Like, I was so dialed in. That was one of the biggest things that I told myself, is I was like, I'm not going to allow what happened to happen again. And that same system carried me through. It's evolved. It's gotten way more efficient. And I took on like Profit First, the Profit First system. I don't know if you've read that book or if you're familiar with it, the Profit First formula. Super good book and super good system. Basically have 5 bank accounts, one for operating expenses, one for income in, one for operating expenses, one for taxes, one for owner distribution, and then one for profit. And every time you get income in, you have a percentage that goes into each bucket. And at first I was like, I don't want to create 5 accounts, but now I look at it and it's the best thing that I ever did. But you get your income in, and then you have allocated percentages to operating expenses, and it's based on what your margins and everything is at the time. Yeah. But the idea is it is for struggling business owners that they're grinding so hard, and they're making this money, but because they're not accounting properly for their money, all the money in just goes right out, and they just feel like they're exhausted. That's the whole thing with the book, is it's for exhausted business owners that can't turn a profit because they're just doing what I did with the gym. Money in, and then that money just it goes somewhere, right? Yeah. And so the idea is actually for you to have a profit bucket, whether it's 1% to start out or anything, but it was, you profit first and then pay for everything else, essentially. And so anyway, I've used that now for, I think, 7, 8 years, and it's been awesome.
And it's called what?
The Profit First.
I love that, because some of those most challenging...
Yeah, go. Google Profit First.
Yeah. Come up. Some of those most challenging times will be our best lessons later on.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be able to, if you're trying to build something great later on, a lot of times people try to build something great without having the lesson, but you got to have the lesson. I don't think there's a way around it. And so you kind of learn those things. You take a chance. Doesn't work out, you lose, but you're like, what do I learn? What did I learn from this? And then you can take that and apply that next.
Yeah, and there was other lessons for sure, but I think the biggest lesson was that, and it really helped. Really helped me. And I wouldn't have had the confidence to start Eaglegate.
That makes sense.
If I didn't have that experience, because it's daunting, money in general is daunting. And I knew that money management was going to be one of the main things that I was going to be doing with our company. And we had employees with the gym. We actually didn't even have employees really. We had one there was a friend that was, but I wasn't really responsible for anybody except for me and my partner for the most part, right? And so with this, my mom already had 3 employees 3 assistants that were going to be coming with us. And so money management was going to be a big deal, right? Payroll, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, as a 25-year-old, looking back, in order to have the confidence to even say, Mom, let's do this, I had to go through that gym experience, because I wouldn't have had that experience of not knowing what to do and then learning. And because, like I said, from day one, I had that spreadsheet dialed, and I was able to just know it. When you paint that picture for yourself financially, it takes it takes so much pressure off of yourself.
How long did it take from when you closed the gym to when you opened Eaglegate?
We opened Eaglegate August of 2015. We closed down the gym in 2016. So I was actually managing both of them for the first nearly a year.
Okay.
And so
probably made it a little easier too to shut down the gym, because you're like, I've got this new thing and it's going well.
Yes.
And I've got this thing that's just an energy drain, it's a money drain or whatever, and it's time to.
Yes. And it was hard because it's one of my very best friends in the whole world that I was doing it with, which was extremely hard. And he ended up continuing down that gym path and, trying to figure it out without me. And that was one of the hardest things too, was not having the same relationship that we had prior. I thought that's always hard. And that's always the risk when you go into business with friends or family. But I went into business with my mom, but it's the best relationship. It's the best partnership either of us could ever ask for. All of her strengths are my weaknesses.
Love it.
All of my strengths are her weaknesses. I've got my lane. She's got her lane. We mesh. We never fight. It's all based on trust. And I trust her completely. She trusts me completely.
Yeah.
And that's a requirement for business partnerships.
Well, and it works out for Eaglegate because they don't have to worry about you rebranding because your mom doesn't like change.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I've had to talk her into change. It's always a strategic way of how I'm going to bring it up. And actually, one of the time when we first started, we had this old school system it was called Turbo, and that was the title software. And I wasn't in the transaction, so I never logged in or anything. But it almost was just by choice. I was like, this looks like, I feel like I'm in 1985. It was the old black screen with the white letters seriously, I felt like I was in 1985. And I was like, I don't need to be in there. It would be nice if someone calls me and they want an update on a file, if I could go in, but I would just have to go to them and say, hey, what's the latest? Because I couldn't operate it. And so, but that was her system that she had forever. And then in 2018, I got a call from Qualia, which is our now software. Got a call from one of their sales guys and like, hey, we got this this new like pioneer of the title world technology, or not pioneer. What do you call that? Like leading. We have the best software. It's so easy. It's so new. Doesn't feel like it's old. Yeah, whatever. And I was like, you don't have to sell me at all.
You're like, I'm ready.
But just my partner, actually, that's one of the things that all the licensing, all the software and everything, actually, my partner up north I was like, if you can talk, because they were on Turbo as well. I'm like, I told this guy, I'm like, he's the one that's really going to be in charge of this. Did you call him? And he says yes. It's likely going to result in a meeting with my mom. And if you can sell them, you don't have to tell me at all. I mean, and but I was like, but don't tell him I called you. So I gave him Matt's number. He calls him. I get a call a couple of days later from Matt. He's like, hey, I've got a demo with Qualia. Do you want to hop on? I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah. They told me They told me that they called you first. And I was like, oh, they weren't supposed to tell you that. He's like, oh no, actually, I've been thinking about it. So we get on the demo, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
And so then I had to talk her into it. And luckily she loves it now. There's no way we would be able to operate the way we operate if it wasn't for Qualia.
It's amazing how much some software can really change the business.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And so, but yeah, she doesn't like change. And I know it's hard. It's hard. Change is very hard, especially when you've been in an industry for nearly 40 years and business is always changing. Habits are always changing. We try and do so much with team culture. There's all these things that even pre and post COVID, there's all these things, and there's always change, and you just have to adapt. And she's amazing, and I love her to death. And we just get through the change despite the friction sometimes that comes with change as a whole, right? So,
well, it's good to learn how to navigate that with the people who don't like change. It's a great skill, one that I'm still learning.
Yeah, and it's also because she has a different mindset than I do. I've been talked out of some things that ended up being like, I'm so glad that I didn't do that, because I'm kind of a fast moving, solution based person that just wants to get from A to Z as fast as I can, and I just want to solve problems, and I don't always think about the problem in its entirety. And that's what's so great with her, is she's so thorough, so she thinks about everything. And so I present something and she's like, no. And I'm like, no, listen. And she's like, and anyway, it ends up being, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Like, after we talk through it, everything, it's like, okay, yeah, you're right. And then something happens down the road that if we would have done what I wanted to do, it would have, I've had a few aha moments where I'm like, I am grateful that she put the kibosh on that, right?
And it's good to have somebody who's grounded when you have personalities that are a little it's crazy. Yeah. I can totally relate to that.
How many employees do you have now?
So we have a total, there's us 2, and then we've got 14. So there's 16 of us total. We've got the office here, and then we have an office in Kanab. Just got light. And then we actually just set up an office in Hilldale. That's more of a satellite office. But our Kanab office is also licensed in Arizona for Colorado City, Fredonia, Page, mostly right now. And there's a lot of business actually happening in Colorado City. And so we set up a little satellite office in Hilldale. So Aspen, that runs my Kanab office, goes to Hilldale a couple days a week. And so we've got that out there. And then we've got the office here. And then we have a separate entity called Red Mountain Title, actually, that is handling a lot of the Black Desert Resort transactions and a couple of transactions throughout the state of different development projects. So we do title work all over the state. That's what's nice about one of the things, an advantage that we have, is because we have northern offices. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of connection between here and there. So people buying here, but they're selling up north, or they're moving down, or vice versa. We can easily do a transaction here, all the work here, and then we just line them up to go sign up north, which is super nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
And then also our title searching capabilities. There's some title companies that only do Washington County. And so the fact that our main searcher is up in Salt Lake, and he can search anywhere in the state for the most part. We have another searcher here that does like Kane County, Garfield County, the counties that are more offline still in the year 2025. That's still a thing.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, so it gave us the ability to really do transactions anywhere in the state, which is also big, because I've got front relationships all over, and it really helps. So
yeah, that proves some. And I didn't realize you guys were all in all those different areas.
Yeah,
so that's very cool.
They've got offices Orem, Riverton, Cottonwood Heights.
Okay,
and then just opened one in Heber as well. That are their physical locations, but then we can do searches anywhere in the state. Yeah, essentially. We have to drive to them, but
yeah. What's next for Eaglegate out here? Like, what are you going for out here?
So next,
St. George domination.
Yeah. So next is we're about to start an office building up on Tech Ridge this summer. I'm hoping we break ground. I don't know exactly when, but this summer sometime.
It's going to be a fun area up there.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a blast. I'm super excited for it. And it's been a long time coming. I've had a letter of intent up there since 2020.
Oh.
And a lot of red tape, a lot of things to get through. But last year they broke through a lot of them. And then that's led into this year. And it's really going to start to take off this year. I'm really excited. So that's kind of what's on the horizon for the office in general, continuing to build more and more relationships here to get more business here. But then also Cedar is kind of on my radar as well. We have an office in Kanab for Kane County. Mm-hmm. We've got our office here for Washington, and then Iron County, which is blowing up. Over the next 15, 20 years, Iron County is going to Cedar, Parowan, that whole area, I feel like is going to keep, Enoch is going to keep growing. There's a lot of opportunity. My family's from Parowan, actually settled Parowan. My either great-great-great or great-great-great-great-grandpa was the first baby born after they settled Parowan.
Oh, wow.
And they named him New because it was the newest baby in It was the newest. It was
Fascinating.
the newest baby in the new town. So, so long history in Iron County for my family. I spent many summers up in Parowan with my grandparents. They've got Bev's Floral and Craft on Main Street that my aunt still runs. My grandma passed away when I was 13, unfortunately, super young from cancer, and but the business has remained, and a lot of families still live in Parowan, and so love Iron County, and I think that I'm hopeful that we get an office up there sometime soon. That would just round out the whole southern Utah, kind of, not the whole thing, but basically those 3 counties will allow us to have a pretty good footprint.
Yeah.
In the whole southern region of the state. So
That's awesome. How about for the YouTube channel? Are you doing 1 video a week or 2
one video a week?
Sorry, 1 video a week?
Yeah, I every once in a while I'll miss if I'm gone or if I'm sometimes if it doesn't line up totally.
I love all these thumbnails.
It's all the same. It is all the same. But yes, it's once a week, and it'll continue to be once a week. I've got some ideas on how I have this box that I've created of what the videos are, and for the most part, and I like being in that box. One of them is because I have some marketing regulations on how I can market, which doesn't allow me to like have sponsors or like really. I can tell what's going on, but I can't like promote developers or builders or anybody. So it's kept it so that it is what it is. But I have people that reach out all the time that are like, hey, what if you did this kind of video or this kind of video? And they're great ideas, but it would create more time behind the camera and more time. My business, Eaglegate, is still how I pay my bills and feed my family.
Yeah.
And so I've got some other ideas on where I could get deeper into more like individual businesses. I actually did just do a little announcement video with Chris Connors that he's got coming up, but for the most part, it's just this, and we'll see if it ever goes beyond that. But
I think they're great videos. Like, you're giving a lot of information. I've watched several of them, and it's like, hey, what's going on here? And especially when it gets close to, when you're talking about a neighborhood that's a little close to you, it's like it's good to kind of have an idea of what it is. Because I don't think there's really anywhere to go unless you want to do a lot of footwork to try to figure out like what's coming to these areas. So they're just checking out your channel. They can go. I mean, you've got a ton of videos on there, right? 237 videos.
Yeah.
Are those all long? Are those all long form videos? Or
they all are 5 to 7 minutes. Sometimes a little bit longer. Every once in a while, I also do a video, a water update every year, which I'll be doing here pretty soon. I interview someone from the water district, and that one's actually usually about 8 to 12 minutes. And then I interviewed the St. George Police Department when they were kind of announcing that they were going to be taking over the city office, the current city hall, when they open up their new one. And city officials, I try and get in front of it a couple times a year, and those end up being a little bit more. But they are all long form. They're all 5 to 7 minutes.
Awesome. That's a lot of videos. That's a lot of work too to get.
It is. I'll say. Yeah, and it's as it gets more and more views, more and more coverage. I have to really, really make sure that what I'm putting out there is real too. So in my brain, I'm doing more. I feel like I have to do even more follow-up with the developers, the city, to make sure that what I'm putting out there, because I don't ever want to kill a deal. I don't ever want it to be early. And so I'm really every week kind of teeing up the next few videos. Yeah. So that I'm talking to people, whether it's the developers, the brokers, the city, and just making sure that what I'm putting out there is, and that's most of the time. My part of filming is about 30 minutes. And then I tell Caden, where I just basically give him a list and I leave and he stays and gets all the drone footage. So the actual filming part for me is about 30 minutes, but it's all the leading up to it that is the time consumption. But that's where it's good though, is I'm having those conversations with people that are in the real estate world that are doing that. And so that's why it goes hand in hand, because I'm already having a lot of those conversations. Yeah. And then it's nice because if I call them usually they answer because they kind of know a lot of the time why I'm calling, which makes it easy for me to gather the info. But it does take time.
I like that you're kind of blending it because it's kind of a version of networking anyways.
Yeah.
And then it helps you gain content on the other side. So
Yeah.
I love that. So how long roughly of your time, so you've got 30 minutes filming, how long would you say it takes out of your time to create one video? If you had to put a guess, I know it's probably hard to.
So probably, it depends on, so this last video I did that I just put out, what day is it? I can't.
Today's Friday.
Okay,
the
yeah,
second.
it's next week. I'm like, wait, did I get the? I have an assistant that I just, for the first time in the 7 years, I'm now delegating the video going on YouTube and putting it on social media. I've just, for some reason,
Good for you.
with my CRM and everything, I've just always been the one to do it, and it's always gone out correctly. And it's just one of those things as a business owner that, if you do it, it's just going to be right all the time. And, or you can control it, right? But my assistant's fantastic, and it's been awesome because I would film Wednesday mornings, and the videos would also go out Wednesday mornings. So a lot of times my Wednesday mornings were kind of stressful because I'm trying to do both. And anyway, she's doing it now. So in my head, I was like, wait, what day is it? So anyway, we just filmed in Tokerville and Leeds this week, and it's not an area that I go to all the time. And there's just a lot of new stuff happening out there. And so that one took a little bit longer because I had to actually go out there and see it for myself before I actually go film it. I had to talk to quite a few people that I don't normally talk to. And so that one took a couple hours the week before, probably 3 or 4 hours of just getting all the information. This week, it'll and then go film, 30. And that one, actually, I was out there for 2 hours because I drove with Caden. It's actually really cool because it's a pretty big area, and his drone will go a little ways, but the transitions we needed were like miles and miles. And so we got in the truck and just had the drone follow us all the way down Tokerville Parkway and then out over into Leeds. And it was really cool. But so anywhere from like an hour and a half for the week, hour and a half, 2 hours, to probably 4 or 5 hours of just gathering information, filming, and all that.
Yeah, it's time consuming,
So,
for sure, but they're worth it.
But it's fun and they're worth it, and it's a little stressful at times, but I enjoy it.
We understand that one. Yeah, on a couple different levels, we understand that one. All right, so you can catch Macrae at if you want to pull up the YouTube channel really quick. It's under your name, right?
Yes. Yep.
Where's the handle at? Let's show them the handle right there.
Yeah, it's just Macrae Heppler on YouTube, and then same with Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm on all 3 of those as well.
Yes, awesome. And you post the long form videos on those platforms as well, right?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so people can catch them on multiple platforms if you want to know what's going on. Make sure you guys are following Macrae.
Yep. And I also have the newsletter goes out the first of every month still, which is the written form.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you go to macraeheppler.com, you can subscribe to my email list, and the videos get sent out. So when they go live on YouTube, if you're not subscribed on YouTube, you'll get an email that day with the YouTube link.
Okay. And that's Macrae Heppler.
macraeheppler.com.
And then you can go and
then there's a subscribe.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome. All right, Macrae, thanks so much for coming on. We had
Yeah,
a good time. You got that good information there.
Yeah, that was fun.